Maybe the Darksaber belongs in someone else's hands. It was forged by my ancestor, founder of House Vizsla.
Hello there, Kenobi. Welcome back to Return of the Nerd. Today's a very special unboxing. I've got my camera set to a very wide angle because we've got two Paz Vizslas in the house. One for the TVC and the other for the Black Series. So what we're going to do is open this guy first because he's brand new. Just came out recently and he's a deluxe, and a lot of people are really saying that this is good value for money, you know, because last year we started in 2022 with the deluxes in the TVC, and we had Ahsoka, we had Boba Fett, we had the Incinerator Trooper with Grogu. You know, we've had some good stuff, and sometimes people will say, you know, there aren't enough accessories or the figure's not large enough to basically, you know, say, hey, how do you, you know, there's a lot of debate in the 3.75 community as to how do you define a deluxe, right, that goes in one of these boxes. So let's have a look at Paz Vizsla. This is mine. I got it from my Taiwanese wholesaler here, and then later on, what I'm going to do is we're going to switch over and have a look at this one from, I think it's a couple of years ago. Oh no, wait, this was last year, wasn't it? The San Diego Comic-Con. We had, so this is a repack because we've had Heavy Mandalorian that came out back with the red and black box, and it was lovely. I've actually got one on my shelf behind me, but it didn't have a removable helmet. So what they did was they gave it a removable helmet, and we've got Jon Favreau's face sculpt, which I think is really, really cool. And I'm going to open this up and I'm going to play around with it, and then we're going to compare the two. And moreover, I want to talk about melee weapons and how Mandalorians should or should not be fighting when they're in close combat, because we had an episode last week. I think it was the first episode of season 3, and there was a fight scene. I mean, it was the first kind of like 10 minutes of the show, and it was a little bit messy, a little bit inconsistent, and I didn't really like it very much. Whereas there have been some very, very good fight scenes, especially in that Book of Boba Fett when the Din Djarin faces off against this guy with the Darksaber, and he has one of those vibro blades. That is a very, very good duel. I really enjoyed that. So yeah, we're going to be talking about that today. So what I'll do first is get this guy opened up. Okay, I've got him opened, and on first glance he looks like pretty good, you know. Everything's in proportion because he is such a chunky figure. This guy is like basically like a tank. He's the biggest of all of the Mandalorians that we've seen so far in the shows. He's kind of like, I'd imagine, some bodybuilder actor underneath this suit of armor. I really like this, the skirt, the kama, that's nice. It's hard plastic. It'd be nice if it was soft goods. That would be pretty cool. There was some talk about his head, not his head, but his helmet just being too small, like an out of proportion. And I was like, yeah, it does look weird, because when we saw the first like images of this, I was like, and then I went back, I watched the trailer, I even went back to season 1 and watched like the episode of you know, in season 1 where he comes in and he helps Mando. I think it's because in season 1 when we see him, they're in that underground covert and it's really dark and you can't really see much, right? So I don't think we really saw like his helmet that clearly, and the rest of the time he's kind of flying around. He has the high ground. But yeah, I mean, in that first episode of The Mandalorian in season 3, we got some really good daylight close up, you know, clear shots of him. And yeah, his helmet, this is about right actually, which is weird, isn't it? He's got such a big body and a small head, but it is accurate to, you know, it is screen accurate. It's funny how like some of the Mandalorians have the what are they called? The rangefinders. You know, like Boba Fett always he's kind of renowned for using his rangefinder and having those like heat-seeking missiles on his backpack, and whereas like the guys in the Mandalorian in the TV show, like a lot of them, they have the fittings for the visors, but don't like use them, or I'm gonna have to go back and check. I mean, I know Mando's got like on both sides, he's got the fittings for if he wanted to have a rangefinder, then he could have one fitted quite easily, but he doesn't. Maybe that's just because he's only just got his jetpack, right? From season 2, he upgraded, and then I guess once you've got your jetpack, then you upgrade to having missiles on it. So, you know, every Mandalorian has their own unique fighting style, and they basically choose which weapons they want the armorer to forge, and everyone's got their own little way of fighting. So that's the nice thing I like about Mandalorians. And this guy just seems to have everything. You know, I mean, I don't know, is this really practical for in battle, because he's so big and he's got so much armor, and also he's got like the biggest blaster rifle, and he's got like, it just seems like he's got the biggest everything. Wouldn't that just slow him down and he would become just too slow? I mean, in battle, when we're going to talk about melee warfare, you know, when everybody just rushes in and there's a crowd of people and everyone's confused, and like, and you're wearing a helmet as well. It's like, I don't know if it's really practical, but we'll see. I do like the accessories that he comes with. He comes with quite a few, actually. So you've got to be careful. You've got to put this one on his back. This is the backpack. So this is his jetpack and kind of his gun as well, isn't it? So that connects up to the blaster. And on top here, this swivels around so he can hold it into position. And then you've also got... I appreciate this, Hasbro. Yeah, well, can we have some more of the blaster effects? Pew pew. I really like it when we're able to actually put those, you know, inside the tip of the barrel of the weapon. That looks really cool. And then we've got the jetpack. We've got the fire effects. Here's blasting off. And then this is cool, because we saw these. These are like little shields that the Mandalorians have. First time I saw this was I think it was in the Clone Wars animation, but we see them, I think we also see them in Rebels as well. And a lot of people were saying like, well, how come they're so small? Aren't they useless? And I'm going to talk a bit about this later and tell you why it's not useless. It's actually quite good. So we've got this, and we've got his vibro knife, which I thought, I don't know, I just think that's a bit too small for him, considering the size of everything else. I just thought that this was a little bit out of proportion, a bit small, and there's not much detail on it. Yeah, so if I could change anything about this dude, it would be give him a better knife. Right, the articulation on this fella is pretty impressive, especially when compared to the last figure I had in my hand. Do you guys, did you watch my last video? I opened up Chewbacca from the ATST vehicle that, oh my god, it was so awful, and there wasn't really much I could do with it. But this one, yeah, you can play around with him all day long. I mean, he's got like really flexible shoulders. He's got those little barbell hip things here, so he can do the splits, and yeah, just can get him into a lot more cool positions. Like knees go back really far. He's got rockers on the ankles. Very, very nice. This is top notch. Good articulation. I like the mold very, very much. Let's have a little look. Oh, there was a problem. Yeah, so like his shoulder pads up here, especially this one. I don't know why it's this side, the right side. Can you see that? When you put him in a T-pose, can you see what happens? Like this side seems to be okay. It's not too bad. But yeah, when you lift the right arm to the side, that's what happens. So you have to manipulate that and put it, I guess, can you tuck it? I don't know how to overcome this. Maybe you can write in the comment section what would be a way, because like if that just looks silly, doesn't it? Look. Obviously not made of Beskar, made of Hasbro plastic. But yeah, great. I like all the little detail here. He's got the scorch marks everywhere. This guy's seen some action. And people have been taking pot shots at him. Even his gauntlet, you know. I was going to talk about that as well, like the fact that I think for Mandalorians, the gauntlet is probably what is everyone thinks that the helmet is the most important part. I think that that's like kind of symbolic of who they are as warriors, as a race of warriors. But I think as far as their kit goes, the most important thing on their body is probably what's on, you know, accessible to them on their gauntlets. The gauntlet always seems to activate some kind of weapon or device, whether that just be to communicate with someone, you know, like you see in Book of Boba Fett when there's a hologram and he's talking to Din Djarin, or you know, there's like a flamethrower on it. You've got like one of those grappling hooks on it. You've got all kinds of stuff on here that's really important. So yeah, and I love the leather. The holster here, we've got lots of, it's like 1 2 3 4 5. He's got like 6, like looks like they're ammo packs. I don't know what's in there, but I just like the detail. And it's got a little silver belt. This is wicked. I love the way this fits on as well. Fits on very, very well. It's perfect, you know. And there's no space between. Sometimes with the figures, right, you put the jetpack in and you look, you're like there's this big gaping space between the two, which doesn't look good. But this guy looks awesome. Oh my god, this guy's totally amazing. When you fix up the weapon, the heavy blaster, it just, look at him, he really comes alive. Just loving it. This is how he walks into battle. He reminds me of the character from the Aliens movie. Do you remember? You went Alien and then Aliens, the second one. The female character, was it Vasquez, and there were two of them. They had these massive long blaster rifles. It kind of, I think this might have been inspired from the characters of those movies. There's actually, like, you can put his hand on the back here, or there's another, he can grip on the side here and at the top. So he's got like 1 2 3, he's got 3 different places where you can put his hands. So it's really easy to get the weapon into his hands. And this is his primary weapon, it seems like. And I don't know like how useful that is, because it's so big. Again, he would need a secondary weapon, like a smaller blaster, I think. But he doesn't have a holster, and I've never seen him with a smaller blaster. But his hand, this right hand here, if I can get this out, ooh, there you go. This does have a trigger finger on it. Okay, so the right hand, you see that finger? It just pops out there. That's good, because then you can use the other blasters, you know, the other smaller weapons from your other figures to go with. You can see it better now. Look, see, he's got that little trigger finger, which I appreciate. That's good. Yeah, I'm loving this so far. So now I'm going to try and see what does he look like with the flames coming out of his jetpack, and also I'm going to attach that shield to the outside of his gauntlet right here.
Let's rock!
Who's firing? God damn it! I ordered to hold fire.
Let's take that off. Right, now let's talk about this the shield here, because it when you put it on to his gauntlet, there's a hole, but this gets in the way here. There's this little tube, right? So first thing you need to do is you need to push that back, and to get, otherwise this is gonna, you put this on and it'll flip back out again. It's a bit fiddly. There you go. Wait. Get in there. Yeah, that's better. So you got to push that a little bit back first, and then you've got him like that. So what I'm guessing this is for is, this is like one of those medieval bucklers, which were used to protect your hand, and it's also used as a kind of, you can use it to bludgeon your enemy, your opponent. You can use it to like example is, if the other guy had a sword, and this could kind of block, parry, move that to the side, and then you come in with a strike. And he uses this in that fight scene with the armorer tells Din Djarin to, both of these have to like battle it out, because and whoever wins can keep the Darksaber. And that fight scene is interesting because he uses this to very good effect, because he's blocking the Darksaber. So we know it can block, maybe it can block lightsabers. His armor seems to be able to withstand the Darksaber as well. But yeah, this is good, but it does have its limitations. And the main thing about that fight is that, this guy is just too slow. I feel like he's got too much armor, and if you're going to be wearing like super heavy Beskar, and you are literally a walking tank, you're going to get, and you're in a melee, like hand-to-hand combat situation, you're going to get tired really, really quickly. And I think that's the fight scene was actually choreographed really well, because he does get tired. And the Mandalorian, who has like less armor, and he's more agile, and he's quick on his feet, he loses the Darksaber at one point and has to use his secondary weapon, which was his vibro. He has a vibro dagger, which he then uses to absolutely punish Paz Vizsla with. So I really like that scene, and it's very accurate. That's probably what would happen in real life. I know this is fantasy, it's like sci-fi fantasy, and there's like that suspension of disbelief, but at the same time, it's good to compare what we see in Star Wars with what's come before in historical warfare. I think it's kind of cool, isn't it? So yeah, I'm really liking this guy. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys that he can actually hold the Darksaber really well in the left hand. It doesn't fit into the right hand because the grip is too wide, and it will just fall out. But he does. You can put a blaster or a pistol into his right hand quite comfortably, and he has that trigger finger. So that's really, really cool. And then the other thing is, like, let me just take this out. He comes with the knife, right? He comes with the vibro blade, and that actually slots into here a lot like Wrecker. I really like Wrecker because he comes with that. So you just slot that in there, and I'm not sure which way round it goes. I think that could be the wrong way round. Let me just check. Let's try the other way. Yeah, I think it goes that way round. That's the correct way round. I like that feature. It looks really cool. If I was a Mandalorian, I think one of the most important weapons that I have on my armor are basically blades, something that can be used like close quarter. Because I mean, these weapons, these ones, and the flamethrowers and the missiles, that's basically for like long range and to keep your enemy at bay, keep them away from you, or maybe to engage enemy targets and to disrupt their formation, and then you go. But at some point, you're going to have to engage, face to face, and that's when you need all your dirty melee weapons. So I'm a big fan of that. Lastly, just before I put him into some cool poses, I managed to get his blaster rifle to connect to the jetpack, and I had it upside down at first. So it goes this way with basically the rifle pointing towards the ground. So I tried it the other way, and it didn't seem to work. You can try it this way as well. Maybe it'll work for you, but it didn't. It's okay. Well, I guess it looks better. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it looks better this way or better the other way? And is there a correct way for that to go onto his jetpack? So I don't know, but I really like it. But when he's not using this and he's not carrying this part here, the chain link with which I guess is like feeding the ammo into his blaster, it kind of looks weird where it's just loose and he's just dragging it around. I did actually try to remove this from the jetpack. I think you can do it. If I forced it, it would come out. So if you're a customizer and you like to do that, then you can try, but otherwise I wouldn't, I don't know, don't risk it, because you probably wouldn't be able to get it back in again, and then you'll be really pissed off with yourself. So I'm going to get this guy into some poses now, and then after that we're going to open up Big Jon Favreau. Okay, so I figured out how to attach this. So when he's not using the blaster rifle, basically it needs to be housed in here, so it goes that way. But in the scene when he's fighting with Din Djarin, I noticed that both of them take off their jetpacks and put them down on the floor, right? Because they're going to go hand to hand, toe to toe. And I'm going to have to go look at that scene again, because did he have this weapon on here, or had it been removed completely and he just had the yellow jetpack? I can't remember. Anyway, it's all cool. I love this figure so much, and you guys, if you like your 3.75 and you like your Mandalorians, this dude is totally amazing. Okay, let's call it a wrap. So what I'm going to do is, this video is to be continued. So in part 2, dun, 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 we are going to unbox Jon Favreau, the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. We're going to check out this guy and see, you know, we're going to put the 3.75 next to him, and we'll have a pose down, and we'll talk more about, you know, hand-to-hand combat and the Mandalorians, the way of the warrior. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.